when I started my teaching job, it was great. It was so fun, but it's very exhausting. You do a lot and you end up getting like burnt out. I really wanted to live abroad and I was like, I don't have kids right now. I'm not married. Like everything is about me. If I'm going to do a big move and a big switch like that, it should be now. So I knew that I could get a job as a teacher anywhere in the world. So I kind of just I got so lucky. I got a job as a kindergarten teacher in an international school in Bali, which was like my first choice, right? So I was in Bali for 2 years. While I was there, I did a bunch of little side jobs, like I did yoga, and then I became an assistant for someone, and that was kind of like my first account that I managed. So I became an assistant for a company that kind of coached teachers. And one of the tasks that they had me do was run their Instagrams. Started there, kept doing that, and then eventually I had a social media agency reach out to me. I got the job, and working for an agency was great in the sense that I was thrown into it, and I had to learn quick, fast. They had huge accounts with the people that I would help out, over 1 million followers, over 500,000 followers. So it was great in that sense. So I ended up learning a ton really fast. And then eventually I just kind of branched off and I was like, you know what, I've learned a lot. I can do this on my own.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of The King's Gambit. Before we get into today's episode, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, heart react, emojis, comment, all that good stuff on whatever platform you're consuming this on so we can keep bringing you these episodes. Today, I'm sitting down with a great friend of mine named Berenize Haro. She's a social media wizard behind a bunch of your favorite Instagram accounts. She is actually living the Instagram life that people love to show off online. She goes to all the coolest destinations, works with the coolest clients, lives in the coolest city, and does all the coolest things. So, Berenize, great to have you sit down with us here today, and welcome to the King's Gambit.
Thank you for having me. Wow, what a great intro.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
So, Berenize, you were one of the first people I met when I moved to San Diego. We met through a dear friend of ours named Ross.
Yes.
Second episode, you're getting a shout out, so maybe call me back sometime, bro. It'd be good to hear from you. But yeah, June 2016 was when I was fresh coming from Detroit, fresh to the West Coast. That was an awesome summer, one of many awesome summers here in San Diego. But what were you doing in life around that time?
Yeah, so 2016, my life was totally different. I had just graduated grad school and I was actually a teacher, a kindergarten teacher, which I did for 8 years before I switched over to social media. So my life was totally different back then. Managing kids, wrangling kids, being a kindergarten teacher, my life was super chaotic back then, but so fun, but completely different than what it is now. Working like a 9 to 5, waking up early, doing that whole grind, totally different than what it is now.
What that's a big career shift to go from kindergarten teacher to eventually social media agency owner that you are now. But how did talk me through that step of going from kindergarten teacher to the next step? What drew you into that in the first place, and then what led you to pivot to something else?
Yeah, so when I started my teaching job, it was great. It was so fun, but I just kind of got to a point where I was like, this is great and everything, but it's not what I want to do forever. It's very exhausting. The pay is not great. You do a lot and you end up getting burnt out, right? Is they say that the max for teachers is a 5-year burnout before they're I want to switch careers. So yeah, I kind of hit that mark around year 3, 4. I was like, all right, I went to school for this, but what are there other options? And my degree actually was in liberal arts. So when you become a teacher, that degree, you can't really do much with it, which a lot of people don't know going into it, especially if you're teaching elementary. So my options were kind of limited, but I knew that I really wanted to do something else. COVID happened and we got to work remote. And that was kind of a flip for me. I was like, you know what? I'm loving being home. I'm loving that I just have a little bit more freedom. I was just so much happier. It sounds bad, but I was just a little bit happier during COVID because I was getting that break, right? I wasn't so exhausted all the time from going to work, coming home super tired. So that kind of flipped the switch of if I'm gonna make a switch, I should do it now. And there was a lot going on at that time, but I kind of also decided that I really wanted to live abroad. And I was like, I don't have kids right now. I'm not married. Everything is about me. If I'm gonna do a big move and a big switch like that, it should be now. So I knew that I could get a job as a teacher anywhere in the world. So I kind of just I picked 3 places. I picked Thailand, Bali, and Costa Rica.
Wow.
looked up every school in the island and sent out my resume, just emailed every single school. Bali was my top choice, Thailand was my second, and Costa Rica was like my third. I got so lucky. I got a job as a kindergarten teacher in an international school in Bali, which was like my first choice, right? So I knew going into it, like, I'm gonna go in as a teacher, but I'm gonna this is my time to like explore and kind of like see what else is out there, right? I'm in a different country. So I moved abroad. I taught for a year. And then after a year, I was like, all right, if I'm gonna like take a sabbatical, if I'm gonna quit, like now's my time to do it, because living in Bali is a lot cheaper than living in the US. So you can make you can have side jobs and still afford rent, food, and everything. So kind of took a sabbatical. I was a yoga teacher here in San Diego. So I was like, you know what, let me try teaching yoga full time and see if I like that. That might be like my new career. Tried it, realized that my hobby, I just didn't want to do it full time. Driving from studio to studio, it was taking my love of like yoga and movement away from me because it was just stressful, and I just realized that I didn't. Some people say like find the thing that you love to do and make it your career. Like for me, it wasn't that.
I'm totally with you on that too.
Yeah.
Where it's like I want to have my passions and still just let them be just fun. You pretty much put yourself back into teacher mode where it's like, oh, I'm a yoga teacher now. I'm still doing the grind of traveling all day, every day, and leading a class and having all these responsibilities and not getting like the brain shut off Zen time, which that's like mountain biking for me, where it's like, hey, give me the activity where like my brain can just completely shut off. I can like just disassociate and be in a nice flow state. And once you turn it into work, whether, back in the day when I was a kid, I was like a bike mechanic or anything, I like to wrench and take things apart. So now once that becomes work, it's like, okay, now I don't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, it becomes like stress, and it becomes just like not your getaway anymore, right? It becomes like your career, and you're trying to think of like, how do I make money off of it? How do I do this, that? So it I saw it was taking my love away for yoga. So I was like, all right, this isn't it. This is like my fun activity that I love. I'm always gonna be a yoga teacher, but I don't need to make it my career. So I love that I went and did that, because I quickly realized that that wasn't the career path. But in doing that, because I was living in Bali and I had to make money, while I was there, I ended up hiring a kind of like coach, and she was like an Instagram coach. And she would kind of teach me like, all right, if you're gonna promote your classes, this is what you're gonna do. So that's kind of how I started on Instagram. I would have to promote my classes in order to get people to come, in order to make money, because it wasn't like you get paid for a class, you get paid for how many students come at some of my places. So I did have to promote myself, right? And I would do like workshops and stuff. So I was working with this coach, so that was kind of like my first intro into like the social media world. I had to learn how to advertise my own classes.
Gotcha.
But then when I figured out that yoga wasn't for me, I kind of like took a step back from the Instagram thing. I was in Bali for 2 years. While I was there, I did a bunch of little side jobs, like I did yoga. And then I became an assistant for someone, and that was kind of like my first account that I managed. So I became an assistant for a company that kind of coached teachers, and one of the tasks that they had me do was run their Instagrams. So they had 2 really big Facebook pages with like thousands and thousands of followers, and then they had 1 Instagram page where they like promoted their school. So that was like my first like job, like helping run. But I didn't like, I was the assistant. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't know it was gonna be, like one of my things was gonna be social media. So that was like my first taste. And then I ended up leaving Bali after 2 years. Bali was the best, but after 2 years I was like, I wanna keep traveling, but I think I wanna leave Bali. So I went home, took a break. While I was home, I like tried.
Back here to San Diego? Or?
I went back to the Bay. So
Okay.
I stayed with my parents for 1 year. I was like, I haven't seen my parents in so long. I'll just stay here while I think of like where I wanna go next. At that time, I was really considering Mexico. I was like, Mexico would be cool, Sayulita, Puerto Escondido, like I heard those places are cool, they're a lot closer to home. So that was in my mind. But while I was there, I was still trying to figure out like, what is the career that I want? So I was teaching, like substitute teaching, just for extra money. But while I was doing that, I started freelancing, taking jobs on Upwork for social media management. Yeah, so I started there, kept doing that, and then eventually I had a social media agency like reach out to me. I had created like my Instagram page for social media, and I had an Instagram agency reach out to me, and they're like, hey, like, how would you like to apply for a job with us? And at first I was like, this can't be real. Like, this girl's got a whole bunch of followers. Like, why would this, it was so random that she came across my page. But I ended up applying, I got the job, and working for an agency was great in the sense that I was thrown into it, and I had to learn quick, fast. Like, they had huge accounts with like, the people that I would help out, like over 1 million followers, like over 500,000 followers. So, little mistakes, you're learning quick, you're going fast, you're doing all the things. So it was great in that sense. So I ended up learning a ton really fast. And then eventually I just kind of branched off and I was like, you know what, I've learned a lot. I can do this on my own.
Nice.
Started my business. So that's a long story, but that's how I went from teaching to this.
Which I have a ton of questions, but that's an awesome arc and journey. The first thing I kind of want to hit on is when you decided to leave San Diego here, COVID, the world's thrown into chaos, everyone's figuring out new passions, finding old passions. There's like there's this time where everyone can kind of do whatever they want. As someone who moved at least across the country, that took like a giant leap of like faith and just took a different kind of drive, determination, different level of planning, a lot of uncomfortability to decide like, I'm going to just go pick up and do this. You picking up and going all the way across the world, what gave you the like confidence or like the faith or even gave you the idea that, oh, this is like something that I can go do? I mean, I know plenty of teachers. I don't know how many of them are thinking like, oh, I can go take this exact thing I'm doing right now and go do it on the other side of the world. So where'd you get that like idea? Where'd you get that inspiration? How'd you come up with that path for yourself?
I always knew that I wanted to go abroad. Like since college, I thought about studying abroad, but my parents weren't really for it and they were helping me pay for school. So obviously if they weren't for it, I wasn't going anywhere, So when COVID happened, it was just kind of like one of those moments of like, if I want to do something, like I should just go and I should do it right now. Teaching was it was easy, right? Like you can get a teaching job anywhere in the world. And there's actually like websites where countries and schools will post that they want teachers and then you can apply. So there's actually a very big demand for teachers abroad because there's a lot of international schools. So any teacher that has ever wanted to go abroad, like it's actually fairly easy in the sense that, they'll set up your visa, they'll help you with accommodation and all of that. So for me, it did help that like I knew that I could go and just have a steady job, right? And they would help with visa and everything.
Teachers, take notes. If you're going to burn down that classroom, please pick up and go somewhere.
Yeah, honestly, like it made it easy for me to leave. And honestly, for me, I had, like looking at my life, I had more fear of if in 5 years, this is what I'm doing, I'm not going to be happy versus like if I go abroad, like what could happen? There was a lot more fear in staying in the same place for me than like trying something new and like maybe failing, like maybe things not going the way I wanted. Like, so that was a big deciding factor for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
Courageous. So you get to Bali, you've got, it sounds like you met some really good people over there, some people that kind of helped set you on a different path, trajectory, things like that. Were you seeking out like mentors when you were there? And like these people that you met, like the social media mentor that you got at first, was that like an American that was also living in Bali, another expat? Was that someone from Bali? Like kind of who were you hanging out with while you were kind of over there?
I got really lucky in the sense that the first year that I was there, it was still COVID. So the whole island was closed. Everyone that got like, call it like stuck there, but like not stuck, right? You're in Bali. Everyone was like really close, you'd go to the gym, you'd go everywhere, you'd see the same people. So everyone got really close and I was just seriously surrounded by the coolest people. One of the things about Bali is like, it's so inspirational being there because it was people from all over the world that kind of were like, I'm done with the rat race. I'm gonna move somewhere different and try different things. So, you would come across like nurses that quit their job and they would switch to something else, lawyers that, decided to leave their careers and become travel influencers. I met another teacher who was exactly like me, who quit and built her own social media agency. So being surrounded with people like that, it just naturally like sparks curiosity. It makes you excited. It's like, well, if they did it, like, why can't I? Right? So being around that and like those people being my friends, that just instantly like made me want to like, all right, like try things. And then the coach, I found her, she was just someone living in Bali.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got to expose yourself to stuff. You got to go out, explore the world, meet people, talk to people, get out of your same patterns, your same four walls, your same city, and go see things because that's what'll inspire you to go do something different.
Yeah, and it's like, when you're around people like that are just like entrepreneurs and are like doing new things, left behind the job that they didn't like that's going to inspire you and you're going to see the world in a different lens where you're going to be like, well, they did it, like I could do it too, like, versus like just sometimes staying in the same spot where it's like comfortable and everyone around you is doing the same 9 to 5. Like you're going to be less inspired to go out there and try the new thing, know?
So you get through a wonderful couple of years in Bali. What year did you come back to?
I was there, I left 2021 and then I got back 2023. I took a little break and came home like for a few months in between there, but yeah.
What did America kind of feel like when you got back after like living abroad? I mean, we had so much has happened in the last couple of years. I can't remember exactly what was happening politically or like culturally at the time, but I know there's just maybe the culture shock from being abroad to like coming back to the U.S. What were your kind of thoughts, feelings? How'd you react to this place?
I was struggling, to be honest. I had like reverse culture shock in the sense that like when you're abroad, like, yeah, I was still working and stuff, but it just felt so stressful here. Like everyone's always on the go, you know, it's like your whole day revolves around work and then you get like 2 days to like organize yourself, spend time with friends, spend time with family and do everything. And it was hard. I had like a really hard time coming back. And as soon as I got back, that kind of served as like a motivator. They're like, okay, I don't want to do this. I need to find a career that gives me the freedom, the flexibility to go wherever I want, whenever I want, to come home when I want. So yeah, I mean, I honestly struggled with it. It was not easy.
But it's a good thing you kind of at least got exposed to another like way of life, because now it's like, cool, now I at least know this rat race is not it. And now you're building, build a life that allows you to, like you said, work wherever you want, whenever you want, and however you want.
Totally, yeah. So it was good though that I got to see both.
For someone who's looking to like get into social media management, for example, like if you're in that agency setting, what was your maybe like division of like time, like between, let's say, editing or doing some social engagement, between like the meeting with the clients and doing like the account management side of things, the like scripting, concepting, like what kind of took the longest? What were kind of your blocks?
Yeah.
Like I've worked at an agency as one of my first or second jobs like out of college as well too, and so once I got thrust into the social media side, I definitely had a wake up call in the sense of like how much time was spent doing certain activities versus like others.
I think the thing that is the most time consuming for sure is like video editing. That takes a long time. So eventually, if you can outsource the video editing, I think it's good for you to like know how to edit your videos, know what style you like, know how to do things. But eventually, if you can, like outsourcing that is great. So that always took like the biggest chunk out of my week. And then the second thing was scripting, right? Because I would have to script each idea very detailed so that the client could look at the idea and be like, okay, B wants me to do this. She wants it to be in this location outside. She wants me to say this CTA, hit these 5 talking points. So I had to be very like detailed in what I wanted from them so that they wouldn't be like, I don't know what this is. Like, how am I supposed to make a video, right? So video editing took a very long time. Scripting took the longest. And then like captions was like, it was okay. It wasn't as hard because once you have the idea, you can kind of, or the video, you can kind of go from there and write the caption. It's just a summary of the video. And then surprisingly, the other thing that kind of took a long time and was like my least favorite was like scheduling content, right? So like every Thursday I'd go in and I'd be like, all right, about 5 videos I gotta hit in there, schedule, click buttons. And that was just like another little time-consuming thing. Easy, but like took a lot of time.
Yeah, there's a lot of hey, post to this platform, a lot of copy-paste work, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit more about that agency life. I mean, it sounds like you found a good opportunity, got you at least in the door, down the career path that you wanted to follow. But what was it like working at that agency, and then what was it that led you to decide, okay, I really want to go do this on my own?
Yeah. So, I mean, there were good things, there were pros, and there was a lot of cons. One of the pros was that I was learning from someone that was extremely creative, very talented. She was behind the scenes, so you would never see her on camera or anything, but glad that she was the one that taught me because she was extremely creative, extremely organized, just great, very, very talented in the social media creative sense. So that was a huge pro. And it was a pro that I got thrown into it. Even though I was super stressed, I just got like a crash course in like, this is what you need to do, sink or swim. You need to swim, you need to go, you need to figure it out. So those were the pros. I learned that you have to be so organized in this area. You got to set deadlines for your clients. They got to know that you're serious. I can't do my job if you don't do your job of filming. I'm going to take the heavy load and do a lot of the majority of the work, but you need to set one day aside out of the week to film for me and just upload the content. So it taught me a lot of great things: organization, creativity, a lot of what I do now. But some of the cons were that I was working really hard, really, really hard. And, I was not making that much money. My agency would take about 2/3 of what the client would pay them, and I would take 1/3, but I was doing all of the work, the editing, the captions, scheduling, the meeting with them, everything. So that was a little hard too, right? Another con was that I wasn't working in the best environment. It was a bit toxic in the sense that my boss she would criticize everything instead of looking at like, oh, you're doing this great, this great. It's like, it was just, everything was picked apart, and we were constantly reminded of like the things that we could improve on, which like something that I took from being a kindergarten teacher, which I'm glad I did, is like whenever you're giving feedback, you got to give constructive feedback. And like in kindergarten, we would call it like the Oreo, like here's a positive thing that you're doing, here's something we need to work on, but we're going to end on a positive, right? And it motivates people, and it kind of, you're not just like picking them apart and making them feel crappy. You're being like, hey, you're doing these really great things. Here's what's going to make you a little bit better. And at that agency, they weren't doing that. It was just, we were being picked apart in meetings. I would like get off calls and I'd be crying because I'm like working so hard. Like, how can you not see that? Like, the client's giving me positive feedback, like numbers, data, everything's looking great, but like you're just upset about like a comma that I forgot to put or like something, you know what I mean? So it just wasn't a good environment for me in the sense that I didn't feel like I was being appreciated. I didn't feel like I was being seen, and it just eventually it took a toll on me, and that's what pushed me to leave. Because I think if it was a different work environment, I would have stayed a little bit longer at least. If I would have given it longer, yeah.
That culture is a big thing. I mean, at least in some of my prior experiences as well too. When I was brought into lead marketing at a different company before I started the agency, that was like a big roadblock that had to be kind of unblocked within the team, because I'd never really had too toxic of a work experience before until I kind of entered that one. And yeah, when you've got a leader on a team, which was like the prior lead before I got there, where they're very pick you apart, there's not a lot of positive reinforcement. It's just a lack of organization definitely as well too. Like people, I at least learned in that experience as a leader on that team, is like you needed to create a positive and healthy work environment for people, to encourage people to do the best work. I had never really paid that much attention to culture myself. I definitely had a couple, especially early on, hey, you got a tone problem you need to like fix. Once you learn a little bit about that, you can help kind of unlock the people around you and get the best work from them.
Totally, and it makes such a difference. Like, people don't realize, like, the environment, when you treat your employees well, naturally, they're gonna wanna do a better job and show up for you, because they're like, I'm so happy, like, thank you, I wanna do more, because I'm just happy, right? Versus like picking someone apart, like always making them feel bad. Looking at all of the negatives instead of the positive, it's just gonna bring them down. It's just gonna bring them down, and the quality of work is gonna come down, and they're gonna feel like crap, and it's not productive. And at that agency, they had a revolving door of social media managers, because long hours, not feeling appreciated, on top of like not getting paid the most, like that's just a recipe for like, see you later, like I'm gonna branch off and go somewhere else.
One thing I want to do while I got you here in front of me is definitely give you your flowers here, because from a social media management perspective, and I've been in a bunch of different agencies, a bunch of different experiences, things like that, I can honestly say like you're the best that I've ever seen do it. You do a lot of things really well, but I think one of the things you do best is that organization, and just how detailed and how easy you make it. I mean, to be honest, social media for our agency wasn't anything that I was like super interested in offering. We had a couple clients that were taking us up on it, but having done social media in the past and stuff like that, it just wasn't something I was super interested in. And I didn't know if it could be done well remotely. When you're in front of the client all the time, you're the one shooting, you're kind of hand holding them through everything, you can get good work. But when you're remote, it adds a whole different layer of difficulty. Because there's technical differences in skill. They might not be able to shoot something a certain way that you want. They might not have the right equipment. Some people are really, really uncomfortable on camera. They don't like filming themselves, et cetera, et cetera. There's just, you get all these, a million different reasons on why it can't work or why they can't deliver you content or anything like that. But having worked with you on a couple of our clients for social media, and just seeing how you work with some of your other clients, you do an amazing job of keeping all that like wrapped up in a nice bow, where they really can spend, I don't know, an hour, maybe it's 2 hours a week on social media, and have a fully filled out, fleshed out social media calendar that's actually growing, the follower engagements are growing, we're getting exposure, we're getting sales, we're getting content that works well with good paid ads and stuff like that. So I think you do a really, really good job of that. So I just want to give you your flowers on that and kind of just dive into that a little bit more. Like, I don't know if that comes from your teaching background, kind of comes from your agency background, but like, how do you maybe explain your philosophy a little bit on how you go about doing organic social media management and how you're able to do it so well, especially remotely, where your clients can be anywhere in the world and they're crushing it?
I think, a lot of it came from the agency that I was working at, but a lot of it also came from teaching, right? Like when you're a teacher, you lesson plan and it's very detailed, and that's exactly what you do with social media management. You give your clients ideas that are very detailed, scripted. You give them a hook at the beginning, you give them a CTA, you tell them where you want them to be when they're filming, and things like that. So it came from my teaching background and the agency, and kind of like merging both. And also just a lot of clients and people struggle with like just showing up on camera, right? They feel insecure. They're like, oh, like it doesn't feel natural to be in front of a camera, right? It just feels weird. Like this was not a thing, 30 years ago. This wasn't a thing. This is
definitely
newer.
not.
So we're not like used to it. So another thing that like I like to do with my clients is I want to make them feel as comfortable as possible. So if they don't like dancing, if they don't like silly stuff, like I'm not gonna create ideas that are gonna make you uncomfortable. I'm gonna try and set them up to where the ideas feel like them, but they're still like catchy, they're good, they're gonna catch the viewer's attention. And I try to like hype them up and be like, hey, you're doing really great, like love how you filmed this video, you flowed through it, like it just seems so calm and natural. So like hyping them up and making them feel comfortable so that they want to show up on camera. And then just, like I said, like I'm doing the heavy lifting. I'm gonna script it for you. I'm gonna write the caption. I'm gonna schedule it. I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna do everything. All you need to do for me once a week, sit down in front of the camera and look at those ideas, film them for me, and then when everything's done, just go through and make sure you like it. Give me any feedback that you want, reviews, revisions. So yeah, you just have to be very organized. You gotta set deadlines with the clients and then just like communicate with them. Make sure that you're also giving them like praise, because it's not easy to show up on camera and it is uncomfortable and it is unnatural. So giving them that confidence to like also just show up. Like you might get some clients that are like, love it, like I thrive in front of the camera, but there's others that are like, oh, I know I need to sell my product, but like, I don't like want to be on camera. So just, for those clients, like hyping them up and being like, hey, what do you need from me to make it easier?
And you do a good job of taking care of them in the post too. It's like, if there's a whole bunch of ums and ahs and weird stutters and things like that, you do a good job of cleaning all that up. And so the client looks very, very polished on camera. And I've had that same experience as well too, whether it's podcast productions or different video productions for clients and things like that. And people will come like, man, so-and-so sounds really, really good on camera. And I'm like, yes, they do. Glad you think that. Yeah, us and the editors had to go through a lot to make it sound that way, but we made it happen.
Totally. Yeah. And I also like encourage them, like even if they mess up, I'm like, it's fine. Like you don't have to be perfect all the time. No. Like one, I can edit it. Two, like sometimes people don't want to see like the perfect aesthetic thing. Like they want a real video. Yeah. So
real sells, and that's one thing. I think you know it as well as I know it. We're seeing it with some of our clients as well, but especially in 2025, 2026, AI it's not even the rise of AI, it is here, it's been here, like it's getting used nonstop. So there's so much computer generated this or over edited and over produced that everything shouldn't and can't look like this cinematic 4K masterpiece. It's something they need to feel authentic, be authentic. It's okay to shoot the video with your hand shaking a little bit in your actual warehouse, because people want to see how the products are really made, not some stock image clean room generated video that's not real. So
and that's a like big shift that we're seeing from like social media like 3-4 years ago maybe to now too. It's like if you look at some of the biggest creators, like they're showing like the real them. Like it's not super aesthetic, like it's them having like the roughest day, or like just being real, and not having this like perfectly like my life is perfect and I wake up here and I have here, and it's, I don't know. The more authentic, real stuff is actually more popular now. And there's a big rise of like, I don't know if you've heard of it, like comfort creators. So it's creators that like you watch their videos and they make you, like they bring comfort, right? Like think of like your favorite comfort food. It just like feels good. So it's not something that's like overly polished. It might be a creator that like you just feel like you can relate to, right? Like it could be a mom that just shows her chaotic life, like kids over here, like running around over here. Like that can be a comfort creator for someone, because it's like, I relate to this person, not the mom that like just made her kids like a super perfectly, lunch with the hearts and the,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like people are just like drawn more to comfort creators. Like one of my favorite creators, her name is Bridget, and she's really big on Instagram, but she's currently like going through chemotherapy and has breast cancer. Like I don't have breast cancer, I can't relate to that, but her videos are always like so authentic. It's like her struggling like on the floor, like today I had to like, like get out of bed and like go try and do my business or go to a shoot. And I love those creators so much more because they're showing like their real life and like that it's not all perfect and polished and great.
Because that's the thing too, is like people know. I mean, there's
Yeah.
enough prevalence of people creating content that you know what goes into it now. So like, I've got kind of a similar thing with, I'm, in the off-road space and stuff like that. And so I'm friends with a bunch of you guys, so no shade to all of you influencers out there, but like, when you drive it out in the desert and you get the perfect cinematic shot of like your van driving through whatever, and it's like, bro, I know you had to drive there, set the camera up, drive backwards down the road, let the dust settle, drive past the car, go past the camera, go back, pick it up, do all. It's like, it looks great, but it's also, that's not authentic and not like a authentic adventure. So people want to see that. I like that comfort creator. I think that's a good topic. What other trends, things like that are you seeing on social? We're right here at the cusp of 2026. So like what going into this year here are you seeing as trends that are gonna, let's say, start? What are some trends that are maybe about to die off? What are some things people should continue to do and lean into?
I think, like the comfort creator, creating content that's like more real, less polished, less aesthetic, more just like you being you, not like being you for a camera, if that makes sense. I think that's going to be really popular going into 2026. We've already seen like a lot of that this past year. Another one is going to be like for businesses. I think people, at least maybe it's just me, but it's like I'm tired of seeing the people that are like, I made $10 million this year. It's like, why don't you like show like the struggles and like what you had to go through to get to that point, right? Like people are tired of seeing like all of the successes. It's like we want to know, like the people that are down here that are just starting want to know like what you had to overcome, so that when we're struggling, we're like, oh, that person overcame all these things. They were there. They were here too, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just like sharing more of your journey in the behind the scenes versus just like the picture perfect, I think is going to be popular this next year. What else? I think something that I've seen that's like doing really well right now is carousels instead of reels on Instagram. That's a big one. What else? I think community, like you gotta build a community, people that like can relate to you, feel like you're a friend, not just this like person on top, I think creating a community is really important. I think when creating content, you got to think about, it's your page and stuff, but like, what does your audience want to see from you? What are you posting that they're loving, that they want to see more of? So just like taking your followers, your community, keeping them in mind versus like just creating what you think is going to do well.
Yeah, get out of your own head, your own vision, and actually dive into what the people want. Okay. Those are great tips.
Yeah.
What trends do you want to see end in social media?
One thing that I think everybody does that they shouldn't do is like, you see a trend pop off, right? And then people immediately go to like follow and mimic that exact trend. But it's like, instead of just going and copying it, like think of it this way, how can you take that trend, add your own unique twist and make it you versus like just going and copying. So I would like to see less of people just going copying that trend exactly the way it is and being like more creative and thinking like, how can I take this, make it my own and not just copy.
How do you stay up to date on social media? Because I mean, you spend all day either buried in your phone or buried in your computer screen, whether you're editing, scripting, stuff like that. One thing I've, at least in my kind of both freelancing and even in this agency journey that I'm on right now, I feel like there's like three pillars kind of to the business. There's doing the client work. So whatever it is that your clients need you to do. There is the business development, getting new clients. And then I feel like there's the skills portion of it, where it's like developing your own skills, staying on top of trends, learning, things like that. Personally, I found in my own experience that I can really only do like one of those things great. I can do the other one pretty good. And then the third thing gets like neglected. And so for me, at least in my freelancing experience before I started the agency, like 5-6 years ago, I did the client work really, really well. And then I did the business development decently. And I didn't get a chance to like develop my skills at all. I was just like so focused on making sure this client was happy and making sure that new ones were coming in and we had a steady flow of business, that I didn't really get to develop my new skills. One of the things I actually liked about going back to a company for a little bit at a time was I didn't have to focus on the biz dev part of it. I was working within an organization, and so now I could focus on like getting my skills way up and learning a bunch of stuff, and also just delivering results without having to like bring in new business, right? Now that we're back in agency time, I feel like I'm doing the biz dev part really well. I'm doing the client part really well, but I'm not really as able to focus on developing like new skills, learning new things, staying on top of trends like as much as I want to. I kind of catch the trends almost like everybody else does when I catch them on my feed, and I've seen the same thing like 5 or 6 times. So for you, how do you stay on top of things? How do you stay creative? How do you keep developing new ideas and keeping a pulse from what's going on, all the way from like, oh, we need to use this trending audio versus here's this new, technology or new technique or new tool that we can use to amplify whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it helps that I'm always online because I manage a whole bunch of accounts. So I'm always like, my clients are really great in the sense that they're always like down to try new things. So I could give them an idea and I'm like, hey, let's try this. So we're always experimenting, and I think that's important with social media. Like, don't be afraid to just like try something. Like, the worst that can happen is it flops and it doesn't do great, and then you just don't do it again, or you try something else, or it does great, right? And then you're like, that works, let's do it again and again. So I experiment a lot with my clients, with their pages, new ideas, new formats and stuff like that. Yeah, kind of like keeping up to date with like what's trending, what's going on, what's working well. Like, I analyze their data every month. They get an end of the month report where we go through their account, what post did the best, we break it down, why did this do the best, what format was it, what hook was it, what are people saying about it. So really like analyzing your data, and then from there making decisions, like informed decisions for the next month. So that's another way. And then also just like right now I'm like crazy busy, and I'm, obviously all of my time is taken up by client work. And yeah, but whenever I do have the chance, I like to like learn too, right? Like, you can always learn new things. So taking a course, I was really lucky in that recently. My own client, she like paid for a course on stories, and she was like, hey, I want to give you this. Like, I took it a while back, but I think it would help you. So I just got like a free course on like selling on stories. So I think it's really important to like, whenever you have the chance, to just like keep learning. Like, if you see a course that you think would be really great, like, great, pay for it, learn. Like, you can never like learn too much, like read books, follow accounts that you think are helpful. Yeah.
I love that, because that's one thing recently I started reading Ogilvy on advertising, which I think that book was written in like the 60s or maybe 70s. Maybe they re-updated it in the 80s or something like that. But, as much as technology has changed, times have changed, people really haven't. Like, the things that effectively sell to people, the things that effectively influence people, the things that people gravitate to, things like that, haven't really changed. So, studying what's worked in the past, staying on top of current learnings, I mean, it's like you said, it's a great way to stay informed and say, hey, I might not know the latest TikTok trending audio song right now that I need to be following, but I definitely know that, hey, here's some tactics, strategies, some way to present some information that's gonna vibe with people.
Yeah. Totally.
One thing I think we do well together also would be the like cohesive approach to marketing. We're very data driven with the clients we work with and things like that. But I think something that's also important to note, especially to brands, whether you're your own brand or you're a massive corporation, is marketing needs to be like continuous. There needs to be a lot of continuity with it.
Yeah.
There's the amount of clients that we talk to, prospects that we talk to, just people that we talk to in general, we're like, oh, social media is like almost this appendage on one side of the body, and email marketing or paid ads or SEO or their trade show marketing strategy or something like that's this other appendage, and they're not like talking together at all. And so I know we've found a lot of success lately the clients that we're working with where, hey, if you're really able to marry that organic social media strategy with your organic or with your paid ad strategy, with your email marketing strategy, with how your website looks, with what you're doing when you're popping up at live events and things like that, marrying that all together, you have a much, much like exponentially bigger impact than just saying, hey, you run social, I'm gonna go have someone else do some ads over here, have someone else do that. So, I know you agree with that, but kind of talk about some of the experiences you've seen with how impactful things can be when they all work together versus maybe some of the headaches that happen when it's fragmented.
Totally. Yeah. So, I mean, we work together I do organic socials and then we do paid ads together. But that works so well because, like you said, it's kind of like a little ecosystem where, we're promoting something on social media, let's say like a sale. We're having a huge Black Friday sale. We want to work together to know what videos I'm going to create that we can also run ads on that will help sell. And then how can we turn that into an email market, like marketing idea, right? So it all does really work together versus if you've got an email marketer over here, you've got a social media manager over here, and you've got an ads person over here. None of them work together. It's like the client themselves has to go delegate to each person, which is just a little bit of time kind of wasted for them. And then it's also like stressful on everybody else's end, right? Because it's like, I'm like, okay, well, what does the paid ad social want from me? And then for the client, like, okay, now they have to go and say, the paid ads person wants this. Can you do this? And it's just a lot of back and forth versus like where you have someone that's just doing all of it together. It's just easier.
Yeah. So a lot of good info about how to cohesively launch a campaign. So any of our prospective clients out there, make sure you're paying attention to that. Hire us both. But moving on from that, for people who want to do what we do what you do, you've got an awesome path and career arc that you've taken leaps at the right time. What advice would you give to someone who wants to step in the shoes and be the next Berenize? What, like, maybe some good systems, some good tips? Like, what are just some of those essentials? Like, man, if I had this knowledge or tool when I started, this would have exponentially expedited my growth.
Yeah.
A lot of ease.
My biggest advice would be, like, just go for it. Like, people are like, oh, I'll do it after I take this course or after I learn this. It's like, you're going to learn as you go, and it's going to be a struggle either way, whether you know a lot or you don't know a lot. Just, like, start. There's never a right time to just start, so just go for it. My biggest thing would be, if you're in social media, like, start your social media Instagram page, and like, if you don't have any clients, like, you're your own client, experiment with yourself, create a posting schedule, just create it, become organized, and just treat yourself like a client. Look for jobs on Upwork. If you need experience, like, go to a place and offer, like, obviously this isn't ideal, but like, offer free work. I did that for a month. I found this laundry service mat that advertised that they need a social media manager. So I actually messaged them and I was like, hey, I would love to offer you 1 month free of just help with editing, scripting, getting you organized. After that month, if you like me, you can hire me. If not, I would love if you would write me a testimonial if you think that would be helpful. So just like, it's not ideal to work for free at first, but sometimes that's what you got to do. Like, get experience, go on Upwork, find little jobs, ask, go to local businesses, take a business card. Like, literally, I did that. I went to downtown, like Campbell, where I was living for a while in the Bay, took my little cards, went to every single business down there, walked in, was like, hey, I'm Berenize. I'm a social media manager. I don't know if you have Instagram or not, but your business would do great on social media. I can help you with this, and this. Here's my business card. Quick little elevator pitch, walked out. And honestly, even if you don't get clients, it gets you comfortable with being uncomfortable and just putting yourself out there and selling yourself, right? So just like start, do those little things, and eventually, like, if you don't give up, it'll work. Yeah.
Those are fantastic tips. The perseverance piece is huge too. And I think beyond the technical skills that you need from a social media, or let's say you want to have a different element of marketing that you want to do or something like that, you need those skills in that area, photo, video, whatever it is. But that business development side of it, the just willingness to put yourself out there, just get used to pitching, throwing what you do out there, going out and just having conversations with people is going to be the kind of fastest way to build and grow your business. And I know for me, that was the part I think I struggled with the most, at least when I first was getting started, was cool. I've got all this marketing knowledge. Like I know what I need to do for the client, things like that. But like, okay, I've got info. Why aren't people coming to me? And it's like you gotta get out there and sell it. So
yeah, and get out like there's gonna be times where you get rejected. Like that's just gonna be it. Get comfortable with rejection. Like not everybody's gonna want to work with you, and that's okay. But then one day, after you ask enough people and you put yourself out there enough, someone will want to work for you, work with you. And yeah, it's honestly just like pushing through and being like, it's gonna happen. Maybe not today, but soon.
Yeah.
And just like having that like trust and faith, and then putting in the work. Yeah.
it's kind of funny how much better I've gotten better at dating since I got into the business. You can't hurt me anymore. These rejections can't hurt me.
Yeah, you're like, I get rejected all the time. It's my job.
You're nothing. Yeah. That's great. So I love all those tips. I think a big other tip that I'd love to get from you is that remote work-life balance. So I know you had you had Thailand, you had Bali, you had Mexico on the list of places you wanted to go.
Yeah.
Before you made your journey. Is Bali the top place that you've been as far as like somewhere you'd want to live, work abroad, or is there other places? What else is on the wish list?
I mean, Bali will forever have like such a special place in my heart, because I feel like that is what made me take the leap to like change careers, to just go after this life that I wanted. So I will forever be like so grateful for like the island, for the people that I met there, the experiences. It's definitely like one of the best places I've ever been. Would I go back and move there now? No, only because it's so far from my family. I love my mom and dad so much. Like I need to be able to hop in a flight and see them if I want to. And Bali's just, other side of the world.
Yeah.
Not an easy flight. They're getting older. It's not an easy flight for them, right? So that is one reason why I would not go back there, but I would 100% recommend it to everyone. I've worked so hard to build this life where I'm remote and I can go anywhere now, and I feel like I'm finally there. So I haven't even told you, but I'm actually leaving for Mexico City on Saturday. I'm gonna go for like 1 or 2 months, just gonna work remote. I'll do that for a few months. I'll go to Mexico City, and then I'll probably go to Puerto Escondido. I love like the beach life. So I don't know. I'm Mexican, so like Mexico has like a special place in my heart. The food, the people, the fun vibes. Yeah.
Tell them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely be visiting. Thanks for that nugget.
And then next year, end of next year, I think I want to do Costa Rica for a bit. Try that out. So maybe go for a few months, maybe a little bit longer. But yeah.
And you're able to do everything your normal work schedule over there.
Pretty much. Yeah. I have one client that I see. I was seeing her once every month. I'd go to her and I'd film for the whole month. But we've gotten into a good schedule to where I'm going to go to her once every 2 months. So that'll give me a bit more freedom to go somewhere for 2 months and then come back, film, and then I can always go back abroad.
As long as you stay organized, you can kind of get as far ahead, and you can do it from anywhere.
Organization is literally everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's great. I will definitely be visiting you both in Mexico City and Puerto Escondido. I love PE. I've spent
I love PE.
Spent a couple weeks down there for the birthday last year, and I'm definitely looking forward to going back.
Yeah.
So I'll be there.
Cool
And
vibe.
Mexico City is historic. It's great. The food's amazing.
You've been?
Yeah. Yeah, I went there for.
Did you love it?
I did, but I didn't get to spend enough time. I only got like 72 hours there. I was there like at the start of my PE trip, got like 2 days there, and then spent the day there on the way back. So I need to spend like a week there so I can go eat my way through the city, go tour everything, and then So yeah,
I'll be there a month.
Yeah, I'll swing down and we'll go hang. That's the beautiful thing about being here in San Diego. A little travel hack for anybody who's not here.
Yeah.
Getting to Central South America, Mexico I know is technically North America. If you can get to like San Diego and walk across the border and fly from Tijuana anywhere, your prices are like 20% of what it would cost. I remember looking at like flights to Colombia when I was living in LA were like $700-800 or something like that, maybe $1,000 like last year. If I'd flown from TJ, it would have been like $250 like first class.
Crazy.
So yeah, anybody who's looking for travel hacks, walk across the border and then go wherever you want to go, and you'll have a good time.
Totally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this, Berenize. Berenize, thanks for sitting down for another episode of The King's Gambit. We really, really appreciate you stopping by today. For anybody who wants to follow along on your travel journeys, get a little bit more info on social media, potentially hire you as their social media manager, how do they get a hold of you?
So you can follow me on Instagram, socials with Berenize. My name is spelled a little different, Berenize. Yeah, but follow me on there, send me a message. Even if you just like want advice, you're like, I hate my job, I'm thinking of leaving, like I would love to talk to you about it. I'm so passionate about just like helping people and just like giving them even that like inspo of like, hey, go do it. Like you're gonna do great, it's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, even if you just wanna chat, send a message, like give me a follow, and yeah.
Awesome. Definitely follow her. She is one of the nicest, sweetest,
Aw,
most
thank you.
caring, giving people that I've ever met. So really, really appreciate you today, Berenize. Thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of The King's Gambit. You can follow along at Chucks Over Mates. It's chucksovermates.com, Chucks Over Mates on all social media platforms, and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you.